The hardest thing to do at the beginning of your day is the hardest thing you had to do that day. If you're watching this video, it's because you're thinking of signing up for the 30-minute morning flow for success, and that might be the hardest thing that you have on your list to do. Later on, there might be other challenges, but right now, at least for me, the hardest thing was getting in my morning practice or my morning training or some kind of running, walking, movement. I was always pushing it to the end and thinking, okay, after this I'll do it, then after that I'll do it, and then the next thing I'll do it. And then it was 11 o'clock at night, and I had carried the guilt and the tension with me the whole day. So there are two things that the morning flow for success are good for. And whether you're an advanced practitioner, just beginning, or in the intermediate, this information will be useful for you. But a little disclosure, the morning flow for success is not really for beginners. So you need to have like an intermediate level of yoga or advanced. But still listen on, because you can still start somewhere else or doing something else that is attainable for you. I'll explain why it's not for beginners. It's not that it's something that you couldn't do. It's just that the way it's going to be flowing is going to be kind of Ashtanga Mysore style. And at the beginning, I believe to have greater and better alignment to do the postures correctly and have the greatest benefit, it's best to have an instructor there with you, or that you can visually see and perceive in the classroom where you are in space and how you yourself are feeling with the posture, and get some feedback, right? Before or after a class. Versus here, I actually won't be able to look at people specifically. I will be able to answer questions afterwards if you have a question about a certain specific posture, but I'm normally trusting you as an intermediate or advanced practitioner to be able to take care of yourself, and I shouldn't be introducing any new funky postures into it. So back to the two reasons why this exists. When I moved here back to South America, to my homeland, I was determined to set a goal for my business. And I knew it was going to suck a lot of my time, but I didn't realize how much time it was actually going to suck from me. And I thought, that's okay. I've trained, I've worked my body, I'm pretty fit. I'll let that go. But I mean, like, I only not just let that go. I let, like, no cooking, no social events, nothing. Everything was the business, the business, the business. Wake up, attend to the business, campaigns, launching, like, how are we going to structure? What should the copy look like? It was like full morphing of the artist that I am in my heart. So it was one of the hardest transitions that I've done. I don't know if you've done something like that where it's not really you, but since you want that part of you to be successful, you have to be someone else for a little while. So that's what I was living here for 6 months. Thankfully, at the end of this whole morphing that I went through, I came out with the final product, which is what I wanted to really launch from the heart of me. I did an online training with Russell Bronson, and it was great. These 3 days, I highly recommend any training that you see of him if you're trying to like angle yourself for success or optimize wherever you're at. You will find something of inspiration there. So I was greatly inspired. And one of my greatest takeaways from this training was, you know, the famous from Simon Sinek, find your why. But I was never clear on, okay, I found my why. This is what I want to do. But then it was like, execute your why. Like, how could my why, my big why was encouragement. I just wanted to encourage people. I just wanted to let them know this is possible. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve, wherever you want to go, whatever the plan is, the goal, the vision, the dream, this is possible for you. How can I encourage you? What can I do? What can I do to better serve these people and encourage them in their direction? I said, how can that be a program? How can that be a service? How can that be a sale? So I came up with a structure. I'll leave you the link in the bio because I'm just starting out actually. But of this structure of risk believer, what I realized was holding people back, and with friends that I spoke to and people who wanted to start businesses or do something in that area, was the fear of failure was keeping them. I mean, we're wired for survival. So of course, this fear is there to protect you, but also at this moment, sabotaging many people from where they wanted to get in their life. And it's kind of frustrating when you're on the outside. You've probably had this experience where you can see a person's potential from the outside and you're like, do this. You know, it's so clear. It's like just so easy. Like you could so easily just, but it's not their thing, or they don't see it, or they're not interested, or you mention it and they just shoot that down. So we just take our own little path and say, wow, if I had that talent or if I had that ability, I would do that. So yeah, becoming a risk believer is the project. And what I found out, ladies and gentlemen, is the physical strength in your body, the access to your full potential, comes from every cell, frequency, and vibration inside your physical body. So I said, here I went a 360 circle, abandoned what was the core of me was physical training. I'm a massage therapist that specializes in neuromuscular alignment. So I know the body is key. I'm fixing bodies every day. I know the body is key, the nervous system especially, right? And deviated entirely from the path to come back to the beginning of the path and be like, oh yeah, it's the body. And I can't neuromuscularly align people who sign up for the 30-minute morning flow for success, but I know these alignments exist within the yoga postures. Some people say that every posture and shape that we make with our body is kind of like a prayer that you send either to creation, the universe, or God. And I think that is so true, because in what is the whole body language thing? Now, what is it when you're like this, to the difference when you're like that, or to the difference when you're like this? You know, like every shape has its energy. Every different shape on our face that we create has a different energy. You know, sometimes they didn't even say anything, but we're like, I mean, you've been there. You're like, I could see it in her face, right? Or in his face. Or I didn't like her face. Give you a little tea ASMR here. So in the discovery of that, going back to the body, I said, okay, if I want people to be successful and eventually take on the risk, the challenge, the goal, the decision, that they know that's it. This isn't for people like that are like, oh, where am I going, right? We're talking about risk believer, right? It's for people who are like, there it is, I can see it, that's the place. There's no way I can make it. I can't get there. I can't do it. Either I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too tired, or I have too many activities, whatever the obstacle is, no, the excuses. But when our body is charged and fired, like after my 30 minutes in the morning, I'm like, all right, what's next? Well, actually, honestly, after the first 30 minutes, I feel like, let's just go another 30 minutes. But I said, the point isn't to put in a whole practice. The point is, can I charge myself and flip my focus in the morning, starting from the morning, towards success? And another benefit of the 30 minutes in the morning is that you lower your cortisol levels. So you might even wake up with your cortisol levels like in neutral, in balance. You're like, you're feeling cool, you're feeling relaxed or whatever. But then anything could happen and those could rise. So cortisol is the chemical released within your body due to stress, right? So any stressor might appear and then the cortisol will vary. But if you have it already below, like you are mega chill, no? You are ringmaster, or what is it? the reins of the horse. So if you're in full control at this level, then things start coming towards you during the day, and neutral might be here, but your cortisol levels will ride beneath the stressors, which would be up here. And what I had felt over these 6 months that I hadn't been training, trying to launch the business, was that I wasn't waking up with it here. I was actually waking up with my cortisol levels around here, because I was already anxious. I was already stressed in the morning, looking at the messages at the WhatsApp, thinking about the 300 other videos or Instagrams or funnels, or how was I going to create it? Like, it was a whole mess in my head. So then neutral was here, I was here, any stressor was coming in, and I was already like, and I said, well, I'm not walking the walk, right? Or talking the talk. I'm preaching something and I'm doing something else. Luckily, it was just 6 months that I went through this whole roller coaster where I said, well, thanks to that training with Russell Brunson, where I was like, well, what's at the core of me? So what do I want to offer? What do I want to give people? What kind of program is this that I have? And that's the first one, which is the value immersion. And if your cells aren't vibrating at a certain frequency, then your value level is lower. You cannot attach yourself to value if you feel from the get-go that your body is crap. So, yeah, that was a lesson well learned, but also I said, okay, so this is part of that program. So if anyone who joins the program, part of their program will be to do the morning flow for success. You do the morning flow, any kind of flow, something they have to do 30 minutes in the morning to get that out of the way, to lower the cortisol levels and leave them prepared. And it's like a preventative action for anything coming up during the day. I have encountered in trying to launch what I call like the empire for healing here in South America, that even with no one imposing on me, I have no deadlines except the ones I give myself. Anything new, like I learned how to do campaigns online, and all of a sudden I was getting all these messages on WhatsApp. I had anxiety about the whole week. And I think that could have been completely monitored at a different level had I been doing the morning flow, had I been doing my normal physical activity. So the one thing that one should never cut out when looking for success is the physical health care, whatever you do to take care of yourself. This training is just to remind you to do that. So if you are a beginner in yoga and you're like, and you got to hear in the video and you're like, this is not for me, you need to do something. And I have found the magic is when you do it at that time, the rest of the day is just a piece of cake. I feel so good. I feel so relieved. And I didn't miss a training or workout. I have removed a chunk load of guilt that I was feeling from not taking care of my physical body. And that I can thank to Cody Sanchez, that she said in one of her videos, she just gets up in the morning and gets it out of the way. She's like, get it out of the way. Do it first. Eat the frog. And I was like, I'm 10 years yoga instructor. Like, I'm a massage therapist. I know this. I know the body is first. Everything else follows. My hair. I have to look here at the camera, but I'm actually over there, so it's a little bit weird. I don't know exactly how I'm looking. I'm looking a little samurai there. A little geisha effect today. So, the morning flow will be a sun salutation. We will have 3 postures, which are the key ones. There will always be a balance posture. There will be a strength posture for the legs, normally, and a torsion, twisting, a detox posture for the spine. We will stick with the same routine, Mysore style, probably for entire weeks. So you're not here to learn something new. You're here to master what you know and get your butt into the flow. Then after that, we will have 3 passive yoga postures, which I call them passive because it's more like stretching. But for many people, this is not passive. This is very active for them as well. But I'm not recruiting, like I'm not flexing. I'm not doing a plank. I'm not doing a warrior. It's more passive, like a forward fold or folded positions on the ground, and maybe some twisting positions on the ground, which can be pretty intense, especially if you have not been getting in any kind of physical activity. This can be challenging at the beginning, but the savior of this all is that I'm already 2 weeks in since I think I started like after Christmas. And the change is already like, we're probably going to move to some next postures in the next few weeks. But the idea is always there's a base, and then from that base, we vary very little. I want you to be able to focus on the feeling, no, the meaning. This, instead of being like trying to look at the video and like, but what are we doing? Like which way? No, this is very simple. I also had a course before that was called Simplicity Masterclasses, and one of my beliefs on being able to take higher levels of risk and having higher tolerance for risk levels is keeping things simple. So I'm going to introduce that into the course also, because if you make it complicated, then it's less accessible and you're more likely not to do it and not to follow through. So the best thing I like to say is, how can I make this simple? At first I was just going to do Mysore because I love Mysore, and I said, let's just do that. But then I said, then I have to stick to that because I've said it's Mysore, and I actually can't fit a whole Mysore practice in 30 minutes. So what if I just take groups of 3 that fit together, and when the moment, when the vibe, when the feeling, when the energy shifts in the planet, I'll pick a different posture or do a different mudra. It'll just shift gradually. And I'm really happy with that, because that's what it makes it possible for me to get there every morning at 7 a.m. for you. Also, so if you're in Eastern time, from New York to Indiana, I believe it's 6 o'clock in the morning for you on daylight savings. Here in Bolivia, that is 7 a.m. So that's why it's called the 7 a.m. morning flow for success. It might be 6 for you, which works great for people who have to go to work at 8. Actually, 7 a.m. is not good for them, because then the practice ends at 7:30, and that only gives you 30 minutes to rush off and get to work. And I don't want anyone rushing off after the practice. So I thought it was perfect. And then at Central Time, you would be at 5 a.m. That's a little bit too early for me. But when you switch back to daylight savings, or when you go back to your normal time, then Eastern will be on 7 a.m. You'll sink right in. And Central will be at 6 a.m. So I'm hoping it'll work for both of those time zones. Bolivia doesn't change. We're on 7 a.m. We're on the same, it's called BOT time. I thought that was kind of cool. B-O-T. I had to look it up. I'm like, what is BOT time? Did we buy it? B-O just means Bolivia, and T means time. So nothing fancy, nothing interesting there. All right, I did write a checklist down. Let me look and see if there's anything else I wanted to say. We've covered the 2 reasons. I covered the time zones. Let you know that I'm in South America. And that's it. Oh, what I like about this, that I put in one of the one of the little ads that I put out was that, so there's no app, there's no membership, there's no strings attached, there's no, you can like do a month and then do something else another month and then come back another month. You pay by month. And there's Zelle and there's Venmo for the payments. I'm not going to mention the payment here because that price might change and then this video won't be evergreen, and that'll be easier just to use the same video every time. But throughout the year, it should hold the same price, whatever the price is that I've put in the link, or if you write me, I'll let you know what that price is for you. And I do believe that because it's part of the program, at first I was thinking, oh, it could just be like a giveaway, for everyone to just be able to do it. But I've learned there's a little trick of accountability for the mind hack is, but I paid. So even if you're thinking, I don't know, it's like $10 or $15 or $20, whatever it turns out to be the rate per day, you don't want to lose those $10, right? And the good thing that without like a recording is that, well, I have to make it at that time. I think I might offer in the future a recording price. So let's say that you start with 300, so that would be kind of like $10 a day. And then if you want recordings that last during the day, we make it 500. So then you can come to the practice and then you have access to the recording all day. I still don't believe on just like throwing out the recordings because I've done it in the past and I gave yoga classes online during COVID. And at the beginning, people would do it. There was a good inertia. And then they would just feel guilty because the links to the recordings would go out. And they were honest at the end. They said, you know what, we never did it because you were not there. We knew you weren't there. And it's kind of like I would do the recording, then I would pause it, go do something, answer the door, go to the bathroom. And when it was live, they were very attentive and they were present during the class. So I'm just going to go live. It seems to work better. And give the recording option for the day. So let's say you're not a morning person or the 7 a.m. doesn't work for you, but you want to do the 6 a.m. the next day, but I'm not giving the class at 6 a.m. So you could do that recording. They'll last 24 hours. I think that's the minimum you can put the life of the recording for, at least on Zoom. So it would last till the next day, like till 7 or 8 a.m. So then you could still do the morning practice. You would just be doing it a day later with the recording. But I don't know if that's a go. I think I'd rather go with doing it live. You should try to also do it live. It's a different sensation, and also there's the energy, the community energy, right? You know what's really interesting? I mean, I know I'm bantering now. The video's over. You can like turn the video off now if you want. But what I noticed on this Russell Brunson training was that supposedly it was 3 days live. And some clips were recorded and some things were live. At least we were told they were live. And there was huge discussions in the chat whether the live parts were actually live. I mean, people were trying everything in the chat to figure out, like, Russell, tell me what day it is today. Russell, tell me what time it is exactly, And, there's so many, I think we were more than 700 people in the live webinar, you can call it. That, of course, in my mind, I was thinking, he doesn't have time to read that or answer that. Oh, by the way, Amy, it's 6 p.m. right now, right? So the chat and all the people, that was live, but I'm not sure if the actual presentation was live. And I thought, who cares, right? Who cares? The content, one of his jobs is that his goals or something was to give the perfect webinar. The webinar that gives the most conversions. And I said, if he's mastered and part of his art form is to find the perfect webinar, then once he's recorded the perfect training, why would one bother to go live again and do it live again. Now, we're all online in all different parts of the world. So I didn't have a problem with it at all, but I noticed that it really affected some people, and they're like, oh, I don't think this is live. So I'll just watch the recording. Like, they bought the VIP where you could watch the recording. I didn't buy the VIP, especially to force myself to do the training live. Because I said, if I buy it, I'll never go through it. It was like 9 hours straight every day. 9 hours straight. Here I'm asking 30 minutes. 30 minutes we can do online, and it's movement. You know, here I had to like sit and listen and take notes. That was really hard. But I think we can do 30 minutes. All right, that's my summary plus the bonus. If you want to know anything like who's Russell Brunson, who's Cody Sanchez, what's going on, these are all the people and the information and stuff I'm gathering, because I also believe that people who are in healing and in the healing service and in the healing industry also have a right to be successful. So, and they're the ones that maybe feel, oh, but I can't charge that. Oh, but I couldn't, you know, helping people is my calling. But even that being so, I believe they also deserve to go back home and not have to worry about where the next medical emergency, where those funds will come from, or how will I pay for my next training to keep my continued education and my certification. I mean, these are like real problems for people in the health and service industry that I feel can have a shift if we just applied a little bit of the business mindset, even just a little bit, right? Just a little training, just a little structure might set us up in a different angle on the other side. Starting with the morning flow for success. Let's just start with the basics right there. All right, it was so good hanging out with you. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and maybe I'll see you in the morning flow for success. All you got to do is send me a message to the WhatsApp, and the link will be down in the bio. And yeah, it's real basic. It's a payment, an email, and then I send you the link. Then we're off every morning. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.